a CS perspective, do you think doctors undercharge for their services? And how do we decide the right value?
Now, that's a very subjective question and a difficult question to answer. But I think no. See, everything is linked to value. Any person would value his life. So when he feels that he is paying something for his health and is getting in return, he is not worried even spending lakhs on it. So I don't think we can relate fees with what is being charged. If a doctor is able to, I mean, again, healing is a God concept, but again, if you are able to heal the patient in a sense that he feels that he's getting what his, sometimes we even feel some doctors are being undercharged. I mean, they're not charging for what they value, and sometimes we feel with the same amount that some doctor is charging more too. So I think that is somewhere linked to a abilities question, and that is again very market deciding factor.
And I think that is linked to your personal brand also.
Yes.
Freshers, I think they undercharge with the fear that they might lose patients. Fees कम रखेंगे so that patient will choose us. It might not be the case. And yeah. And second is, अपने को we don't do our costing. ये सर्विस को क्या प्राइस होना चाहिए? We don't do that. We don't know कि sometimes people who have really understood their costing well and the finances well, आप देखो उनका price will not be say 90,000 rupees नहीं रहता, 89,860 रहता. So that is because they have done their costing well. At least they want to project that they have done it well, right? There are people like Ankur Wariku, who is a great influencer, and उनका 1 घंटे का session he will charge 20 lakh rupees, and it will not be 20 lakh rupees, it will be 19 lakh 88,500 rupees. So we have to do our costing. We don't have to copy the benchmark that someone else has set. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हम या तो विजया को कॉपी करेंगे, या जो जिसको हम आउटसोर्स कर रहे हैं अपना लैब उसको कॉपी कर लेंगे, या विद द फियर दैट अपने पास आदमी टेस्ट नहीं कराएगा तपाड़िया की प्राइसेस लाके लगा देंगे. यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू डू दैट. So there is a strategy. They've been in business for over 20 years now, and आप कैसा मिमिक कर सकते हैं उनको? तो we should do our costing well. Please.
एक चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि देखिए बेसिकली सर ने कहा है कॉस्टिंग, तो वी नीड टू असेस कॉस्ट ऑफ सर्विस प्रोवाइडेड. नॉर्मली गुड्स के केस में कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड होता है. यहाँ पर कॉस्ट ऑफ सर्विस प्रोवाइडिंग जो मतलब बड़े बड़े हॉस्पिटल, किम्स हो गया, यशोदा वगैरह के मैंने बैलेंस शीट में और कॉस्टिंग रिपोर्ट में देखे हैं कि CSPC मतलब कॉस्ट ऑफ सर्विस प्रोवाइडेड निकालना बहुत जरूरी है. उससे ये होता है कि आप मार्जिन सेट कर सकते हैं, मार्जिन कम कर सकते हैं बेस्ड ऑन द लोकेशन, बेस्ड ऑन द पब्लिक यू आर सर्विंग. You can set the margins and you can increase or decrease the margins, but you should have the basis CSPC, cost of service provided.
Yeah, and these days we get a lot of marketing messages on Instagram, maybe social media पे, LinkedIn पे sponsored messages रहते, where they are inviting you to join a webinar for free, or maybe एक 2,000 रुपए का webinar है, but you're getting it for 99 rupees, right? And you have to do it right now 15 मिनट के अंदर, then you will get access to that course. वो 1 घंटे का रहता, but then what they do is they give you so much value in that 99 rupees. You are compelled to buy their primary product. So they strategically they have 3-4 products, and एक product वो लोग easy to buy रखते कि it should be a no brainer. मेरे को खरीदना है, 100 रुपए में क्या नुकसान हो रहा? What is that? What is it that I lose by spending 100 रुपए? I might not even read that book. I might not even watch that webinar. लेकिन because it is risk free हम लोग ले लेते. And उसके बाद में they sell their primary product to you. They say 1 घंटे में गागर में सागर भर दिया, अब 3 दिन का प्रोग्राम लेने वाला हूं, सोचो मैं क्या करूंगा. एंड इसके लिए गिव मी 6,000 रुपए. एंड देन इफ वो फनल में आप नीचे गए और एंड 6,000 रुपए आप स्पेंड कर दिए, 3 दिन का प्रोग्राम हो गया. नाउ ही सेल्स यू हिज प्रीमियम प्रोडक्ट दैट विल बी 1,18,000 रुपीज. एंड देन आप और फिल्टर होते लोग उसमें, लेस नंबर माइट गेट, but they buy 1,18,000 rupees का product and they are brutal with that. 1 रुपया कम नहीं करते आपको. वो होने के बाद से it is maybe 1-on-1 consulting where you have to pay 10 lakh rupees a year, and monthly once you get to talk to them. So this is how it works, and therefore I feel we are undervaluing ourselves. Now the next question is what is the biggest mistake you see doctors making with their clinic income?
Revenues again will, when we link it to financial planning, because see, when you're getting revenue, it is very difficult for a doctor himself to identify what I'm earning. See, you can invest something from your earnings, and to know your earnings and then you can categorize it basically that 30 to 40% of this will go into fixed amount, very easily liquid. When we mean liquid in our financial planning, what we mean is you can get that amount if you want right now. Something like an mutual fund, like he said, like shares. You can sell it when you want, you can get the money right now. So sometimes when you invest in assets which are not easily convertible into cash, that becomes very difficult for you. So I think getting onto revenues, deciding your profits, and then investing might give you that edge that even though you're not working, your money is working for you to grow to an extent. I think yes, that is one
Right.
part of it.
Like I said in the beginning about the cardiology professor, he said there's a lot of money lying in the savings account, but I have not strategically invested it. Otherwise, it would have grown and made money for me. So I think we should do that.
Yes.
And second is, for some of you, if you have your own clinics, stop considering your clinic as a piggy bank. ओके आप लोग क्लिनिक को उतना फोकस नहीं करते जितना अपने प्राइमरी जॉब को करते हैं मॉर्निंग में. हो सकता है यू गेटिंग अ ग्रेट सैलरी आउट ऑफ दैट प्लेस, 2 लाख 4 लाख 6 लाख, लेकिन द पोटेंशियल ऑफ अ क्लिनिक इज यू कैन नॉट इमेजिन. तो स्ट्रेटेजिक रहिए अपनी क्लिनिक की ग्रोथ के साथ और इन्वेस्ट इन योर क्लिनिक्स टेक्नोलॉजी, build systems so that they can work for you. And next question is, how important is it for doctors to separate personal and clinic accounts?
बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है सर, क्योंकि नॉर्मली होता है कि घर के खर्चे भी आजकल डॉक्टर्स जो पिक्चर मैंने देखी कि क्लिनिक स्टार्ट किए हैं, घर के खर्चे, पर्सनल खर्चे, सब एक्सपेंसेस जो है एक ही अकाउंट से हो रहे हैं. तो उसको सेपरेट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि मैंने जैसा बताया था कि प्रॉपर प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी ट्रैक करने के लिए, एक्सपेंसेस ट्रैक करने के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब ज़रूरी है कि पर्सनल एक्सपेंसेस, पर्सनल इनकम्स शुड बी सेग्रीगेटेड फ्रॉम द क्लिनिक एक्सपेंसेस एंड क्लिनिक इनकम, सो दैट जैसा कि वही मैंने बताया कि इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट ट्रैक्स आपकी, आप इनके पैसे ले लेंगे, उनके पैसे ले लेंगे, तो सर्कुलेशन में आप आपका क्लिनिक का अकाउंट यूज करेंगे तो वो आपकी क्लिनिक की इनकम बताएगी. तो एट लास्ट दे विल बी नोटिस फ्रॉम द इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट, यू विल फॉलो द SFT radar. So for avoiding this, you should separate the personal and clinic account.
Yeah, it simplifies a lot of things and अपने को protect भी करता. I mean, I'm just imagining Caspian Life Sciences Private Limited की balance sheet में it is showing शरीफ कुरैशी को 5,000 रुपए गए. How will that be? And yeah, many small clinics don't register for GST. When is GST actually applicable to us? You've answered this, but still I want you to reiterate it.
So basically, you have to decide that if you are only providing an exempt service, the list of services, then you don't really have to be registered under GST ever. But along with the exempt services, you're also providing a taxable service, like you're also selling pharmacy sales. Both together, if your turnover is more than 20 lakh, then you are supposed to get yourself registered under GST. But once you are registered, your exempt supplies remains exempt. All other taxable supplies, that is where you have to contribute on to GST. Collect GST from the patients and pay to the government. That is the point that you have to decide the GST registration.
If I'm not falling in that slab, 20 लाख रुपए मेरा revenue नहीं है, expected revenue नहीं है, या 40 लाख रुपए नहीं है, can I still have GST?
Yes, you can voluntarily get yourself registered under GST irrespective of the turnover crossing or not. But then once you have registered yourself under GST, then 20 lakh of limit is irrelevant for you. You have to contribute even 1 rupee of say taxable supply sales, you have to contribute GST on that, collecting from the patient. And the exempt remains exempt.
Does that have any influence on my credibility, my clinic's credibility if I have GST?
Yes, it definitely have, because you the other side is also your collaboration with all other big hospitals, your collaboration with a big consult. So if you have started with a clinic and you are planning to go to a hospital, so people, you want bigger doctors of this city to connect with you. They'll not connect to the person who has sole proprietary clinic. They will definitely want to connect to a hospital who is registered as a private limited, who are compliant in terms of GST and everything. They want to collaborate with such hospital. It will definitely have an impact.
And what are some basic compliance steps even a solo practitioner must follow?
Okay, so like I said, there are few basic steps that doctors must follow. It is, say, for example, you are opening in a clinic. So, apart from your medical licenses that you need to have as a financial aspect from the government's perspective, you need to have a labor license. So that they say that if you are having some labor more than 2 3 employers, you're supposed to have, that is a state-based license. You're supposed to have a trade license. You're supposed to have a GST. See, GST is again limited to your turnover, but people take it voluntary. So, as a sole practitioner, you don't really have a different PAN card. But to say that you have a practicing clinic, there is no, again, the whole business is linked to a PAN card. As a sole practitioner, there is no separate PAN card, but as a private limited or a partnership firm, you will get a PAN card which says XYZ clinic. Now that authenticates the point that you have a clinic. But in solo practitioners, they don't have a separate PAN card because your own PAN card is used as a business PAN card. So in that your name, for example, if I take Dr. Heiser, in his PAN card it is Heiser, but it will not show Caspian. So you don't really have a document. So in that aspect, people take labor licenses. That is a practical scenario, trade license, and this suffices and this helps you open a bank account with your clinic. So I think that is the basic compliance in terms of documentation that you can do.
Great. And I think our compliances should not be restricted to just PF, ESI, TDS, GST, PT, professional tax, etc. You should have a simple P&L statement, जिसे you are actually getting to see what is incoming, what is outgoing, what is your gross profit, what is your net profit, and the strategies that you can implement for your growth. Right.
I think just to add the point, it is not really from the that CA will come and do everything for you. The important aspect, like said, it is a technology. You need to have a software which makes it easy for you to track your OP bills, outpatients, your inpatients, your pharmacy. That is something very customizable. Every software will have its own set of rules. So a doctor will somehow have to take out time, spend on a good software, and then bring a team who consistently does same kind of a step. So it is the system that gives you that edge and the technology aspect.
What is your advice for a doctor who earns decently but feels stuck financially?
Investing is the mantra here. If you don't invest, it is still lying in your savings bank. It is only getting you 4% of interest, and most of them don't want interest. They just give it away the savings bank of interest. SIP is the most safest option as of today, because see, we being a chartered accountant, we understand share markets, equity markets, futures and options, everything better than others. Okay, there can be a doctor who have a better idea about it, but yes, in general, we know better. But then after going all these things, we have done trading at our end. We used to do trading from 9:15 until 10:30, 11. We used to make good money, but making 9 days of money and losing it in one day, 10th day. That is what used to happen. We have done in-depth analysis of share markets and everything. After all these things, getting so much of stress and not focusing on your profession because you are much into this investing, we came to a point that you better go to the SIP. On an average, first year it might not give you a return of 10%, 15%, but if you average for 5 years, you can make an SIP for 5,000, you can make a SIP for 2,000. That's a nominal negligible amount for a small person to start. But over the year, 5 years, it is like 61 lakh 20,000. That will grow to 5 lakhs rupees, 10 lakh rupees. Back end, the fund is getting created. Maybe for your higher education, maybe for going abroad or something like that. For your kids, future planning and all those things. So it is better. Best advice is go for an SIP. There are the different type of an SIPs. It is sector-based SIP mutual funds. You go to automotives, you can go to pharmacy. You better, and you people understand better the pharmacy. You understand the medical domain. So you select the domain, or you can go for Sharia compliant mutual funds also. Like there are options: Tata Ethical, Quant, Nippon, and all those things. Like Taurus is there. So you can go for an SIP. That is the best option. If you are really interested, you can also purchase shares. Don't go for short-term trading for now. You will end up losing money, because first time it will definitely give you money, that give you a zeal to get into it again. But second time it will take back everything. It will wipe out your prior principal as well. So if you really want to trade it for the long term. Stay invested. markets will definitely give. If share markets are not performing, it means India is not performing. It is not the case. We are going to grow overall as a country. It will go definitely. It is going on a better track. So we will win out of it. But if you are staying invested,
I think, yeah, I would like to reiterate what Basha said, and in my humble experience, 50-30-20 rule of finance, where we say 50% should be allocated for your needs, 30% for your desires, and 20% should be invested. Wherever you invested, but just invested, right? And again, here, what we feel is, जो primary source of income है, that is only the income that we consider. And जो भी चुटपुट आ रही, you don't even consider as a contributor, right? कोई lab से कुछ पैसे आ गए, कोई hospital से कुछ पैसे आ गए, it's a doctor's forum, let me be open. So we think that is surplus, that is चलता है, ये तो अपन desires के लिए खर्च कर ले सकते हैं. That I think shouldn't be the case. That also can be strategically put into your financial planning. And when should doctors consider scaling up their clinic into a hospital or multi-specialty setup?
So जैसे मैं पहले बताया था कि based on the trends, based on the profitability, based on the scalability, कि आप कितना ग्रो कर रहे हैं physically, virtually और financially. Based on these three parameters, you should plan for growing. अब एक hospital है, proprietorship है. They have been into business for more than 2 to 3 years. And the profitability has increased. The customers have increased. The space is short now. So they should go for a partnership or LLP up. So ऐसे ही company or after that they can go into branches like that.
Right. Yeah, every business has those stages. एक struggling stage है where you struggle to acquire patients, and then there's a survival stage where you are getting patients लेकिन cash flow के challenges आ रहे हैं, and हर महीना at the end of the month you struggle to give your salaries and take care of the expenses. And then there's a stability stage, and then a scalable wala stage, हाँ. So I think we should get to at least stability where things are not dependent on us. आप comfortably वियतनाम जाइए and आपकी clinic पे पैसे आते रहें, isn't it? Even if it is for 3-4 days, man.
I think just to add that, what it actually is, when your clinic is system based and not a person based, you can scale at that point of time.
Right.
So even if you grow multi-folds, but still if it is linked to that, if that doctor is there, only then it will work, then you cannot scale any clinic. We go to Apollo, we go to big hospitals, we rarely know who's the doctor we are going to meet until we go. I mean, from the other side of the story.
Yeah.
But some clinics, they are very doctor oriented. No matter who's the other doctor, they just want to meet that specific doctor. In that scenario, it becomes very difficult to scale. So you'll have to move from there to system based, and then you can plan on scaling.
True. I think this brings me to business owner dependency of a business. So if your business is dependent on the business owner, then your action consistency will be low, and therefore your results and efficiency will be low. And when you look at companies that are at that scale wala stage, I think there are 5 stages. I'm missing one. So वो stability वाले stage में, in fact scale वाले stage में, you never know who the business owner is, because management is also given to a board. This person is a part of it, लेकिन board is the one that is taking the strategic decisions. You have all the CXOs for the business, for every function of the business, marketing के लिए, sales के लिए, operations के लिए, HR, legal, accounts and management. Everything के लिए you have systems. For those working in corporates, how can they start building assets early? Assets.
So again, assets is your investments. Asset is something that gives you return even when you're not working on it. It's basically like a passive income. So the ones who are in corporates, they get salary or maybe at best a consultancy fee from the hospitals. So they need to take out or allocate some portion of their monthly income, which they have to discipline the manner follow and make an SIP out of it. That is the best way to start, because anything with a surplus amount that can be done is a different case. But when you are in a corporate and earning salary, after getting your tax deducted, which is a pinching amount, you get some amount out of it. And again, that 50-30-20 rule comes into picture. You decide what are your exactly costs that you can go, that is basically your needs, and out of that, your you need to cut down on your wants and then give priority to a small SIP amount that you can invest. People even go for FDs. That is not a problem, but FD requires a minimum amount, or we can say a major amount that initially goes into it. So in a current scenario, SIP is the best way for corporate salaried doctors to start with something, and eventually you can scale after that.
Yeah. And I think here equally important is to avoid lifestyle inflation also.
Yes. I mean, saving is equal to growing. People don't understand that when you save something, because it is not visible, we feel that it is not growing. But when you're saving something, it is equivalent to growing. So I think that is something. It comes after a practical experience, but doctor has highlighted very nicely that you save on your extra cost, that is equally growing for you.
Yeah. And then we can focus on compounding also. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah,
If anything.
it is about having your passive income, because you are moreover involved into this, your wherever you're working on as a consultant, not just into SIP, other type of investments as well. You're having a small commercial space as a you will have a startup. So you will start having rental income out of it. That is also type of a fixed secured investment. So in such type of investment, you should also, because you can't forget. Maybe okay, you can start thinking of building a brand. Some other thing, like you will thinking of launching a medicine, buying a medicine, relabeling it, branding it. You work on the sourcing of it,
Third party manufacturing.
because see, at the end, it is not the person who will win, it is the brand that will win, because brand gets carried forward. So working on that aspect also, because see, एक होता है like saving approach, एक होता है growing approach. At the same time, you should also focus on how do I grow, how not just sticking to a hospital. Okay, that is the fixed part that you are getting. Apart from that, how all I can grow, like by investing and by increasing your sources of income and creating a brand out of it. Maybe into the pharmaceuticals, maybe into the technology, because you understand medicines better, so you can actually come up with a software which actually solve the issues faced by every person. Not everyone can have a big scale software to implement to track all the expenses. You can come up with a very small basic. Like there is an example of Pagarbo that tracks your expenses, the salaried expenses. Such example. So that will come to you for an expense of 300, 400 rupees. So such being part of that innovation. So that is also something which will benefit you over a long run.
I think I'll go back to the previous question and would like to add one thing here. If you look at the hospitals that have actually made it really big, please understand they never started as big hospitals. What I'm trying to tell here is you should have your niche, and what you're doing, you should be best at it. And usi ko you can scale. For example, Narayana Health, how did it start? It was Narayana Hridayalaya. It started as a heart hospital. Does that mean only heart patients are going to come to you? No, every other patient will come. Cross specialists aa jate aapke paas, automatically aa jate, and you will grow as a brand. And today it is Narayana Health. You look at City Neuro Center. How did it start? Ratnakishore Saab, I think. It started as a neuro hospital. Now it is CNH hospitals. Many examples. Sai Krishna Neuro. AIG, yes. AIG started as 30 years ago. Asian Institute of Gastroenterology. Now it is AIG hospitals. So you have your niche. If you are thinking कि आप सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स साइमल्टेनियसली स्टार्ट करेंगे और सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स को ओवर टाइम एक साथ स्केल करेंगे, दैट इज नेवर गोइंग टू हैपन मैन, अनलेस आप बहुत आपके वाले ज्यादा कोई कभी मेयर है, डिप्टी मेयर है, एंड यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ मनी, गुडविल. आई थिंक दैट इज पॉसिबल. 200 करोड़ एक साथ आप लेके उतर सकते मार्केट में तो, बट अदरवाइज इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. सो अपने को अगर स्टार्ट करना है तो लेट अस स्टार्ट स्मॉल, लेकिन whatever small we are starting, let us have our niche, right? And that is the first step in for you to move from struggle to survival to stability, right? And then आप उसके अतराफ में systems build कर सकते हैं. Sorry, I think I am dragging it.
Would you like to add करना चाहूँगा last question, how to be scalable?
Yeah.
तो सर scalability के लिए देखिए, जैसा कि वेद भाई ने बताया कि we need to have system in place. System in place जब होता है कि जब we have documented our processes. Each and every big hospitals have their processes documented, like at the OP counter, IP counter, pharmacy, nursing section. There are the processes and process owners. Whether the doctor is available or not, whoever is available at that time, they will follow the process. So this is the main thing. SOPs setting the SOPs and doing regularly audit of it, major area in the scalability part.